Why do you think that Bitcoin is going to hit a new high before the end of the year?
The Bitcoin price continues to consolidate upwards as we range between $80,000 to $90,000 back and forth per coin, as the Bitcoin price tracks global liquidity almost perfectly. And this is major. This is what the mainstream media won't share with you. I will. The balance of Bitcoin on all exchanges continues to drop sharply. The amount of BTC on exchanges is now at 2019 levels, the lowest amount in the past 5 to 6 years. Bitcoin's illiquidity is off the charts. Again, as I remind you, global liquidity continues to trend up. And just based off the data, supply is extremely scarce, while demand is exploding, with the biggest companies in the world, ETFs and institutions, buying relentlessly. Case in point, the news today is this: U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is on record that we are going to turbocharge Bitcoin mining in America.
And we're doing all sorts of interesting things. I'll give you an example. We're going to make it, if you want to mine Bitcoin and you find the right place to do it, you can build your own power plant next to it. I mean, think about that for a second. You don't have to necessarily be on the grid, right? So, and you're going to see this happen, which is miners are going to put their data centers on top of gas fields, right? And then put a plant right next to them so that they won't be beholden to the drawing power and listening to all the stories about, oh, you're taking too much power and now the cost of operating my refrigerator is higher and all the things we have to deal with now. What you'll see is the next generation of miners in America will be able to control their destiny, control the cost of power. And I think that is going to turbocharge Bitcoin mining in America. And so the idea is for the investment accelerator to help people, as an example, who have those kind of ideas. How do they get those permits? How do you execute on that plan? You call the investment accelerator and we help you execute.
This is one of the major reasons that supply is getting bought up. By the way, Howard Lutnick is expected to be at Bitcoin Conference 2025. My brother and I also speaking this year at Bitcoin Conference 2025. Ticket prices are about to increase this Friday, so use code Altcoin Daily for 10% off your ticket. Link down below. And breaking news, looking at U.S. states. Arizona's 2 Bitcoin reserve bills are scheduled today for a final reading. This could be the day. Meaning Arizona is about to vote today on will they adopt a state-level Bitcoin strategic reserve. Then next up will be New Hampshire, then Texas, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, etc. States are following with a Bitcoin strategic reserve what the United States, what the nation already did, now is happening on state levels. And as I show you, this chart seemingly suggests the bottom is in for Bitcoin. Also, I'm going to share with you the latest altcoin news. Watch today's whole video. It is not a secret that especially since Liberation Day, meaning the day Trump announced the quote-unquote reciprocal tariffs, gold and Bitcoin, especially in the last few months, have been seen as that hedge against global uncertainty.
Well, if you look at what's happened so far since Liberation Day, Bitcoin has been the best performing asset so far. And I think that when you have uncertainty, when you have exuberance in a market, people are looking for what is the asset that is going to be most sensitive. They want to express the view.
Didn't gold do better than Bitcoin?
Gold has done better over year to date, but not since Liberation Day. And I think that an important part of this is when people are looking for a directional bet, they want the thing that is most sensitive, the thing that will move the most. And Bitcoin definitely does that. Now, the nice thing about Bitcoin and gold is they tend to move in the same direction at the same time. So if gold is going up, Bitcoin is going up. Bitcoin just happens to go up more. Same happens on the downside as well. And so what I think we're really headed here is we're going to get 1 to 2 interest rate cuts through the end of the summer. I think you're going to start to see some trade deals get announced, some positive news come out of DC. Investors are going to have amnesia. They're going to forget that they were worried a couple weeks ago. They're going to start to put capital back into these markets. And Bitcoin usually is kind of the fastest horse. It's the most sensitive to that capital being put back into the market. And I think it'll push us back over an all-time high.
Looking at the latest Ethereum news, researcher proposes scaling Ethereum gas limit by 100x over the next 4 years. This is being proposed by somebody from the Ethereum Foundation, researcher Dankrad Feist, who is heavily respected in the Ethereum community. Ethereum's Dankrad Feist has pitched a 4-year plan to increase Ethereum's gas limit by 100-fold. And this would boost Ethereum's chances against Solana, put Ethereum more at the forefront like Solana. Feist, who had blockchain's dank sharding data storage solution named after him, put forward EIP, Ethereum Improvement Proposal 9698 on April 27th, which would introduce a deterministic gas limit growth schedule starting at epoch here around June 1st. And what this would do, the proposal would gradually increase the gas limit for Ethereum by a factor of 10 for roughly 2 years, or around this many epochs, when one final tenfold increase would then occur. And of course, if you hold Ethereum, what does this mean to you, and how does this compare to Solana? As Ethereum today can occasionally reach up to 20 transactions per second in blocks dominated by simple transactions, a 100x gas limit increase could theoretically increase Ethereum's TPS to 2,000. Feist's proposal would better position Ethereum to compete with the likes of Solana, which currently processes a non-vote TPS between 800 and 1,050 transactions per second, and has a theoretical TPS of 65,000 transactions per second for Solana. So it wouldn't quite bring Ethereum as a layer 1 on Solana's level in terms of speed, but it gets it closer. And either way, as a Solana holder, understand that institutionally, they're not going to let Ethereum go away. 93% of BlackRock's BUIDL is on Ethereum. And why is that? Well, institutions follow deep liquidity, credible neutrality, and battle-tested security. ETH is already their settlement layer. Noise will tell you otherwise, numbers won't. This is a signal, like the video if you're getting value. And has the overall crypto market, or actually more specifically Bitcoin, has Bitcoin bottomed? Well, buy in the red and wait for the pump. Right now we are in the red of short-term holder realized profit and MVRV. If you have never heard of this metric, just understand that really short-term holders is a really good indicator of market sentiment based on the actions of short-term holders, which qualifies as holding for under 155 days, I believe, because we know if you hold Bitcoin past about 155 days, you get it. You've held through some dumps, some pumps. You're in it for the long term, while it's really the short-term holders that tend to panic sell when let emotions take over short-term for the market. And right now, according to the data, with the Bitcoin price in the low $90,000 range, short-term holders are exhausted. The ones that wanted to sell, that did sell, have left the market. Bitcoin's still around $91, $94 now, $1,000. And not that this metric, this red, can't go lower, but historically, it's like buying Bitcoin at around $50,000 in 2024 or around $25,000 in 2023. Subscribe to Altcoin Daily for updates on this. I'll keep you updated. And for those wondering, why is privacy coin Monero up over 50%? It's pumping just in the last 12 hours. Well, per the on-chain data, Monero is likely pumping 50% due to a suspect that stole $330 million in Bitcoin, and they wanted to cash out, and they just fat-fingered a lot of that Bitcoin into Monero to cash out, causing price pump. And Monero's a higher cap, more established coin. But how do I find the promising lower cap altcoins? Well, hot air rises and vapor turns to value. At least some will turn to value. And it turns out Fartcoin of Sol in the last 24 hours is #1 in mindshare and #2 by market cap. This is a great tool to add to your arsenal to find lower cap altcoins. Just head over to cookie.fun, and it allows you to track the newest, the latest AI agent altcoins. And what's interesting, you can track it by mindshare. So many people track coins by market cap, but what about mindshare? Mindshare is the percentage of the total conversation volume that a particular agent has in relation to the total conversation volume of all agents. And this is a platform you can use to find the gems. And hypothetically, how I use this is find something that's low in market cap, but it's growing in mindshare. Because if it's low in market cap, but more and more people are starting to talk about it, it's starting to trend, that's the opportunity. So again, the news today is it's interesting to see Fartcoin of Solana. I don't own any, but it's interesting to see it sort of trending up in the last 24 hours. I will keep you updated. Like always, see you tomorrow.